Welcome to the video, guys. In today's video I want to make it clear to you that a low volume training approach should form the foundation of your training career and of your entire weight training routine. You see, the reason I want to make this video is because I see a lot of newcomers in the gym, a lot of guys without any experience copying the high volume, high intensity workouts that their favorite fitness YouTuber or professional bodybuilder is using to make his gains. But the difference between you and those guys is that those guys have years of training experience under their belt and are using those higher volumes as a tool to squeeze out any last additional amount of muscle growth that they haven't tapped out yet. But they haven't laid their foundation with a high volume training routine. In fact, when it comes to building muscle, there is a recommendation of performing most of your work between 9 and 20 sets per muscle group per week, meaning that those sets are being very hard and close to failure when being ended. And while those volume recommendations are very good, there is a big difference between performing 9 to 10 sets and performing 20 sets, because when you are newer to the game, when you are inexperienced, you don't need a whole lot of volume to grow optimally. However, when you are in the game for a long time, when you have tapped out a lot of muscle gains and a lot of potential, you want to occasionally go to the 20 mark in order to squeeze out those last additional couple of pounds that you can possibly squeeze out. And most of the time when people do this, they lower the volume for muscle groups that they aren't focusing on, and they are upping the volume for other muscle groups that they are prioritizing during a certain limited period of time. And what's also very important to understand is that 65% of the gains that you will stimulate on a per week basis will be coming from only 4 sets per week. So if you would only perform 4 sets per week, you would already squeeze out 65% of all of the muscle growth that you could possibly gain. That means that upping the volume to a certain point will start to hit a point of diminishing returns, meaning that the return of investment, the amount of muscle gains that you get in return for the investment of doing additional amounts of volume, additional amounts of sets, isn't worth the squeeze. And in fact, I myself have started my muscle building journey in a totally wrong fashion. I started with a high volume bodybuilding approach, body part split, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was simply copying my favorite athletes at the time, but I'm talking way back. And quite honestly, did I make progress? Sure. Did I make optimal progress? No. Because I was focusing on the wrong things. I solely focused on the volume. I didn't focus on getting stronger. I didn't focus on progressive overload. I didn't focus on the right lifts. You have to be smart about training, and if you do things right, if you have the right information, that is when you get results, even with a low training volume. And the key to gaining muscle is to pick the right lifts that give you the most bang for your buck in the least amount of time. And those are the bench press and its variations, the chin up, the overhead press, the squat, the Romanian deadlift, and the mid upper back row. A type of chest supported T-bar row, for example, or a TRX row, something like that. Those are the 6 exercises that will give you the most bang for your buck and will stimulate the most muscle growth when combined in your entire body. Even your arms will grow without direct arm work. Even your side delt will grow without direct side delt work. Your triceps will grow, your calves will grow without direct work from those compound movements alone. Those muscle groups will inevitably grow if you perform a minimum of 4 sets per week, use the right frequency of twice or more per week, and focus on progressively getting stronger. That's the magic formula. What I would advise you to do, if I would start all over again, I would use a low volume approach that allowed me to perform about 9 to 10 sets. I would say 9 sets per week per muscle group, and I would divide my workouts into workout A and workout B, alternate between those on non-consecutive days. For example, on workout A, I would perform bench presses, T-bar rows, and squats. And on workout B, I would perform weighted chin-ups, overhead presses, and Romanian deadlifts. Those would be my starting points to lift, and that's a very low volume. And if you want to make it even more complete, throw in some bicep curls at workout A and throw in some chest flies or leg extensions in workout B, and you will have trained your whole body with about 9 sets per muscle group per week. And focus on progressive overload. Focus on getting stronger on your main lifts, supplement with a couple of accessory lifts. Respect the recommendations of volume, intensity, and frequency. But like I said, you don't need a whole lot of volume to grow. You don't need a whole lot of volume to make significant gains and to get a very nice body. In fact, 80 to 90% of my total gains that I have made in my life were made on 9 to 12 weekly sets per muscle group. However, I do train intense. I always stop my set 1 rep shy of failure, so I'm training at high thresholds, but not to the point where I'm burning myself out. But the point is, guys, don't make it too complicated for yourself. Keep things simple. A low volume workout and training approach is where it's at, especially in the beginning. Am I saying that high volume is bad? Absolutely not. High volume has its place. But when you progress and when you get stronger and when you get more advanced, you can then transition from performing about 9 sets per muscle group per week to, let's say, about 12 sets per muscle group per week. And when you are very advanced, you will stick between a range of 9 to about 15 hard sets per muscle group per week, and the amount of volume that you will use will vary on whether you are bulking, when you are in a calorie surplus, which means that you are stronger, have more glycogen reserves, have more recovery capacities. And when you are cutting, you may have to lower the volume because of the opposite side of the spectrum. You've got less energy available, you have less recovery capabilities. So it's about playing around with the variables, guys. But if you are new to the game, perform a full body workout 3 times per week, perform about 9 sets per muscle group per week, and perform on the main lifts that will transform your body and will give you the most bang for your buck. And once you get stronger and transition and will need a little more workload, build it up to about 12 sets per muscle group per week. And I can guarantee you guys, actually that will be the sweet spot for most people with a normal life, with a normal daily routine, because the majority of people doesn't want to look like a bodybuilder. So you don't have to train specifically like a bodybuilder in terms of volume. You don't have to use the insane amounts of volume that they use, because don't forget, a lot of those guys are on enhancements. They are on drugs that allow them to grow bigger than you could ever grow naturally and allow them to perform way more work than you could naturally recover from. So don't be fooled. As a natural, the goal is to build a solid base and to use a low to moderate training volume approach, and occasionally use phases of higher volume where you specify and specialize 1 or 2 specific muscle groups at a time. Allow those muscle groups to receive more volume in order to give them a boost in muscle growth for a while, and then you go back to a maintenance amount of volume or a slower pace to make steadily progress on. And I know it doesn't sound fancy, but it is the truth. And building muscle is a long-term game of simple repetition and consistency. So guys, if you value the information in this video, please like, subscribe, and share the video with as many people as you want who might benefit from this information that I've just given. Thank you so much for watching the video. Take care, guys.